We weren't supposed to be there. Silver Lake was fenced off, forgotten, the kind of place older folks in town only talked about when they were drunk or dying. But it was our last August together, and we were 17 and certain we were untouchable. The water looked like oil under the moonlight, still and black, reflecting nothing. I remember how quiet it got once we stepped in, like the trees were holding their breath. We laughed too loud, splashed too hard, tried to scare each other with stories we didn't realize had roots. Then the light changed. The air went wrong, heavy and wrong, and the sky cracked open without a sound. They started changing first. Just little things at first. Voices and looks. The way they said my name. I came out of that water alone. No one else remembers them. Not their faces, not their names. Their parents swore they never had kids. But sometimes, when the fog rolls over the lake, I hear them calling from under the surface, voices just close enough to sound human. Silver Lake isn't on most maps anymore. You won't find it in guidebooks or campground directories, and even the locals in the town of Harrow's Edge talk around it more than about it. Tucked deep in the woods near the edge of the Vermont-New Hampshire border, the lake is small, no more than a glacial shadow cupped between moss-covered hills and choked evergreens. There's a dirt road that leads toward it, but it's nearly vanished under years of fallen leaves and creeping vines, and somewhere along the way, the wind starts sounding different, like it's remembering something it doesn't want to share. The lake itself is glassy and dark, the kind of water that never reflects quite right, too still, too deep. On the eastern bank, what's left of a collapsed boathouse leans into the water like it's trying to drown itself. Scattered bits of rusted metal, old bottles, and something that might have once been a dock vanish into the tall, weeping reeds. The woods press in close, too close, like they're trying to swallow the shoreline. The air smells like rotting pine and old iron, even in high summer. Mist rises in the evenings, even when there's no coolness to explain it, and the silence isn't the comforting kind. It's the kind that prickles at your neck and makes you realize you're hearing less than you should. No crickets. No birds. Just the occasional snap of something in the underbrush that never shows itself. Locals say there was once a summer camp there, back in the 40s, but it burned down. Or flooded. Or simply vanished. No one can agree. But the lake's been fenced off for decades, its story cauterized from town memory, like a scar no one wants to touch. And yet, every few years, someone finds the old path again. The gate's always unlocked. The water's always waiting. I was 17 the night it happened. That was 20 summers ago. My name's Jonah Calloway, and if you ask anyone in Harrow's Edge, they'll tell you I left town right after high school, never looked back. But that's not the whole truth. I didn't just leave. I ran. And even now, after all these years, I'm still trying to outrun something I can't name. Back then, I was the quiet one in our group, always observing, always one step behind the jokes and dares. I never quite felt like I belonged, not really. My mother had died the year before, and my father had already retreated into his bottles and locked doors. The others, Casey, Reese, Lila, they were my lifeline. My only sense of normal. That night at Silver Lake was supposed to be one last summer thrill before life pulled us in different directions. I didn't know it'd be the last time I saw them. Now I work maintenance at a school up in Maine. I fix what's broken. Lights or locks. Doors that don't stay closed. It's quiet work, and no one asks questions. I don't talk much. I've learned to keep to myself, avoid water, and never sleep too deeply. But lately, I've been hearing them again. Not voices exactly, but dreams, wet, muffled things. Footsteps in water. Lila humming that song she used to sing when she was nervous. And then, last week, a student disappeared during a field trip near Harrow's Edge. The police report called it a misstep, said he drowned in the river. But I saw the photo. The look in the kid's eyes before he vanished. It was the same hollow look Reese had just before he turned to me and whispered, "You're not supposed to be here." I thought I'd bury that night, sealed it away with silence and distance. But it's pulling me back. Something at Silver Lake didn't let go. I was the only one who came out of that water. Now I'm the only one who remembers. And if I don't go back, I think whatever's in there will find a way to come to me. They don't have a name in any book you'll find. No Wikipedia page. No whispered folklore passed down around campfires. What haunts Silver Lake isn't a ghost or a demon, not exactly. It's older and quieter. It doesn't chase or howl or shriek. It waits, watches, learns you. Locals used to call it the drowned quiet, not so much a being, but a state of being. Something that lives in stillness and silence, that thrives in the liminal space between memory and forgetting. It doesn't attack, not in the way you'd expect. It unravels. The thing in the lake feeds on presence, on identity. Those who enter its waters begin to fade, not just from life, but from memory itself. Their names slip from conversation. Their faces vanish from photographs. Eventually, even their families forget they existed at all. What's left of them, if anything, stays in the lake. Half-formed shadows beneath the surface. Reflections that move wrong. Murmurs that mimic loved ones, just enough to draw someone else in. But there are rules. Always rules. It cannot enter the world on its own. It must be invited. That's why it waits for trespassers, for people who break the old boundary, step into the forbidden, unknowing. It only takes what you let it. It can't touch you until you speak to it, believe in it, remember something it offers you. A voice you miss, a friend you lost, a promise unkept. Once you leave the lake, you can't return unchanged. If you survive, you're marked. You become an echo, no longer completely of this world, no longer entirely forgettable. It hungers for connections, bonds, friendships, bloodlines. It devours what's most meaningful. The tighter the bond, the deeper the bite. That's why it took Jonah's friends, not him. He wasn't as sure of them, not as tethered. Some believe the drowned quiet was once a goddess of reflection and remembrance, worshipped in forgotten woodland rites. Others say it's the remnant of a punishment, a curse cast upon a village that drowned its own children to stop a plague. But it doesn't matter where it came from now. All that matters is that it remembers. And it wants you to forget your name, your face, your place in the world, until all that's left is a whisper beneath the lake. It's patient. It's listening. And it knows Jonah remembers what should have been erased. That makes him the perfect doorway. It starts small. Jonah hears a vibration under the floorboards of his apartment, almost like a tune hummed underwater. At night, the sound grows stronger, pulling him toward the bathtub. One night, water starts pooling in the tub, even though he hasn't touched the faucet. The plug is out. Still, the water rises. Inside it, he sees a flicker of Reese's smile. That familiar, crooked smirk. Only it's not, right? His eyes are all wrong. Still, Jonah leans closer. He nearly speaks, but he stops, and the water drains away, leaving the tub bone dry. Jonah drives back to Harrow's Edge. The town looks older than it should. People don't recognize him, though he's barely aged. He visits the school, the diner, even the house where Lila used to live, but her parents don't remember having a daughter. He finds a photo of the four of them in the attic of his childhood home, but when he shows it to others, they only see one boy alone on a dock. The more he searches, the less real his friends become, even to him. One night, while staying in a cheap motel near the lake, Jonah catches a glimpse of himself in the mirror, except the reflection blinks before he does. Behind him, the others begin to appear in the glass, Lila whispering in his ear, Casey laughing just behind his shoulder, Reese staring, blank-eyed and wet. Jonah smashes the mirror, but the sound doesn't echo in the room. It's swallowed by silence. Jonah dreams of the lake every night now. Only the dreams feel like memories. He's back on the shore. The water is calling his name in the voices of people he once loved. It offers him a choice. Return to the lake and trade his life for theirs. or let it continue pulling new souls in. He wakes to find his phone full of voicemails from a number that doesn't exist. Each one is a friend's voice, begging him to come home. Jonah drives to the lake one final time, not to escape, not to forget, but to remember everything, even if it kills him. Silver Lake's story is a jigsaw of half-remembered whispers and faded fragments. In the town library, dusty and nearly forgotten, there's a brittle volume tucked away in the local history section, bound in cracked leather and titled The Lost Settlements of Harrow's Edge. It tells of a village that once thrived by the lake, named Eldwich, settled by European immigrants fleeing a war long gone. Eldwich's people were said to worship a spirit known as Lorraine de Mirewars, the Queen of Mirrors, the guardian of memory and reflection. According to the tome, this queen was neither kind nor cruel, but merciless in her need for balance. When the village suffered a terrible plague, the elders struck a grim bargain to save their souls, offering their children as sacrifices to the lake to keep the illness at bay. But the queen's hunger wasn't sated by mere death. The children didn't die. They were trapped beneath the water, caught between worlds, becoming the drowned quiet, neither living nor dead, forgotten by all but the lake itself. Local legends, passed down in hushed tones and drunken confessions, hinted a curse tied to the water's edge. Those who trespass risk being drawn in, slowly erased by the lake's unnatural silence, their names and existence swallowed whole. Town elders once kept a fence around Silver Lake, marked with weathered totems carved with the queen's likeness, mirrors shattered and hung like warnings. But as years passed and memories faded, the fence crumbled, and with it, the safeguard. Jonah's memories and dreams echo these legends. The stories his friends told that night weren't just childhood dares. They were incantations, invitations they unknowingly repeated. The lake's hunger is patient, waiting for the threads of memory to unravel so it can pull new souls beneath the surface, weaving them into its endless quiet. The night Jonah returned to Silver Lake, the fog lay thick, curling over the water like smoke from a cold fire. Standing at the broken dock, the cold seeped into his bones, not just from the night, but from the weight of what waited beneath. The whispers rose, voices layered in longing and warning, a chorus of his lost friends calling his name. The lake shimmered, black and endless, a mirror that didn't reflect the sky, but swallowed it whole. Jonah knew the choice he faced: step into the water and surrender himself to the drowned quiet, trading his memories for theirs, or walk away and let the lake claim others, continuing the endless cycle. His fingers brushed the surface, cold and impossibly still. The faces beneath twisted between smiles and sorrow, urging him to remember, to forgive, to join. But in that moment, Jonah understood the true cruelty of the queen's bargain. It wasn't just about sacrifice. It was about erasure. The lake didn't want souls. It wanted oblivion. With a last breath, Jonah pulled back. He turned away, leaving the water undisturbed. But as he walked toward the dark woods, he felt it, the quiet shifting inside him. He wasn't whole anymore. The lake had marked him, tethered him to its hunger. Behind him, the water stilled, waiting patiently for the next soul to forget. Thanks for staying with me through this story of Silver Lake. If you've ever felt like something's watching just out of sight, or heard a whisper you couldn't explain, I'd love to hear about it. Share your own strange or eerie experiences in the comments below. And if this tale sent a chill down your spine, feel free to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that lurk just beneath the surface. Remember, some places hold memories we're better off forgetting, but sometimes they remember us. So keep an eye on the shadows tonight. You never know what might be waiting just out of reach.